Okay, resetters, we got to dive into what the number one reason, number one above all reasons, and it's not what you think, that your blood sugar is going up, staying up, and not coming down. I want to go through the mechanism and the reason behind that, because what hopefully you always are learning from me is that your body is always working for you, not against you. So if you're working on your food, you're working on fasting, and you're not seeing the results, your blood sugar is still staying high, I want to walk through this number one reason with you and make sure that we're giving you tools to address it so we can start to bring your blood sugar down. First, here's where I want to go with this conversation. The first thing that I really hope you all understand is that this blood sugar number is pivotal for your health. Not just your health today, but it impacts the diseases you will get, it impacts longevity. So we want to bring your blood sugar to a normal, balanced place. Now, I can tell you, and I've done a lot of videos on this, I wrote about it in Fast Like a Girl, what I like to see is in a fasted state that your blood sugar is somewhere between 70 and 90 milligrams per deciliter. Those are American numbers. And the second measurement I really like to see is that when you eat a meal, your blood sugar comes down to the same level it was before the meal within a half an hour. Now, I know clinically, like, we see 2 hours. Like, we should see a meal come down within 2 hours after you've eaten back to its pre-meal amount. But I've looked at a lot of CGMs and trends in blood sugar, and I'm going to tell you, coming down in a half an hour after your meal is a very good sign of great metabolic health. So I want to put that out there in this conversation just so we're clear on what we're looking at. Okay, here's the number one reason: stress. It's you being in a stressed state. And this could be stress in your life. This could be stress in your body that's telling your brain that it's under a chronic issue that needs to be addressed. But the bottom line, if you cannot get your blood sugar down, we've got to look at your stress levels. I want to walk through what happens to your blood sugar when you're in the stress state, but then I want to talk about some resources and some ways that we can start to manage stress in a different way, other than sitting you in the chair and just teaching you to meditate. There are some cool ways that we can go about looking at blood sugar and stress and where these two intersect with each other. So the first thing I want to think about and get you to dive into your body and realize that when you are perceiving your environment as stressful, and that might be like you're just sitting in your seat, and all of a sudden somebody walks into your office, they tell you something very stressful, and your blood sugar spikes. You may not even be aware of it. I've seen this happen over and over again. It was something that happened to me the first time I put a CGM on. I was sitting in my kitchen, and my daughter, who was a teenager at the time, came in and said something to me. Those of you who have teenage children know how stressful that could be. And we got in a little tiff. And then when she left, I happened to look down at my CGM, hadn't eaten anything, and all of a sudden my blood sugar was spiked 30 points. So if you are under this level of chronic stress, what's happening is your body keeps dumping blood sugar from stored tissues into the system to help you run from the tiger. So it can be something as simple as you're enjoying working in your office, you're having a great day with your family, out at the park, whatever. You're like in a great place, and then all of a sudden a stressor hits you and boom, blood sugar goes up because your body thinks it's running from a tiger. And so it keeps blood sugar levels high so that you have plenty of blood sugar for two areas of your body. Your brain, so you can think and you can be strategic. Remember, the brain loves ketones, but it also 50% of what it needs are blood sugar. So the body will keep releasing blood sugar into the system because it needs to assess the stressful situation so it can get away from it. The second thing is if your body's looking to run from a tiger, then it needs glucose in muscles. So the muscles can perform really well so that you can run from a tiger. So when we're under these chronic states of stress all the time, we've got to tell your body to calm down. You've got to have some recovery and resets. So let me just give you one little hack if you're living in a really stress-filled life, we've got to make sure that we have some little recovery moments throughout your week. This might be meditation. I know if you're like stressed, you're like, oh, I got to sit in a chair and close my eyes and not think about my stress. I get how stressful that might be. So maybe it's a moving meditation. I do this a lot where like I put my earplugs in or my music in my earphones and out I go and I walk all the time when stress hits because I have to just calm my brain so it doesn't keep accumulating. So we've got to look at this chronic stress as being something that will run you and keep that blood sugar high. Second thing to know, when you're under stress, cortisol makes you more insulin resistant. So we're going back through the hormonal hierarchy. And if this is the first time you haven't heard of the hormonal hierarchy, I speak about it a lot here on YouTube. I wrote about it in both the Menopause Reset and Fast Like a Girl. It is this priority system of your hormones. And the hierarchy looks like this. Sex hormones are at the bottom. Above that is insulin. Above insulin is cortisol, and above cortisol is oxytocin. So what this means is that you are going to become more insulin resistant when cortisol goes up. So as long as you're stressed and cortisol is on the scene, not only is your body putting all this stored sugar into the system so you can run from a tiger, but cortisol is surging through your body, signaling you to be insulin resistant. Okay, I gotta interrupt this video because I have a free guide for you so you can master fasting. It's called A Beginner's Guide to a Fasting Lifestyle. And all you've gotta do is click here and you can jump right in. So now you're eating high protein vegetables like I've taught you here, you've gotten rid of the carbs, and your blood sugar is still staying up because cortisol is on the scene. So this is what I love, and you're gonna hear this really throughout a lot of my videos right now. I am such a fan of movement and walking because when we walk, we tell the brain, yeah, we know we're running from a tiger. We get it, we're moving away. And as it moves away, it'll slow down that stored sugar from being released. Second thing that you're doing is you're using cortisol for energy, which is the movement, not for storage. So I'm assuming that maybe you came to this video because you're trying to balance your blood sugar, but you also are wanting to lose weight. So keep in mind that when we start to move, we use cortisol in the way that it was meant to be used. And this goes back to our primal situation. But in this day and age, stress is coming from so many angles, like we don't even really know where stress is coming. It's just popping in at all these different places, which is keeping the cortisol levels really, really high. So when we move, and we just go for a walk, what ends up happening is that we use that cortisol and then the cortisol calms down. And then you tell your body, hey, you can regulate blood sugar. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and bring blood sugar down. It's all good. It's all peaceful in here. We're not running from the tiger. We use the cortisol that was released, and all of a sudden your blood sugar will start to come into balance. Okay, third thing that I want to point out on this particular topic, because I know so many of you are really putting in some great effort to lose weight. But let's go back to your body. I want to line you up with your body. I want you and your body to get to know each other. And if your body is feeling threatened, then it's not going to prioritize weight loss. So it's not because you're undisciplined. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because your body needs to feel safe and relaxed to be able to lose weight. So part of why I wanted to do this video for you was not only for those of you that are diabetic and you're looking to balance blood sugar, but those of you that are trying to lose weight, I really want you to understand how impactful stress is. In fact, it's so impactful, I literally have done a whole Resetter podcast on this. You can go to the Resetter podcast. And you can see the episode I did on why you're not losing weight. It is to date the most popular episode I've ever done on my podcast because this is affecting so many people. But instead of giving you some like magic one-off, like you should do this, don't do this, I really want you to think about the environment you're living in. Think about how your body's responding to that environment, and realize that stress will raise your blood sugar and keep your blood sugar up a lot more than carbs. And the reason that this is important is because we become very dogmatic about needing to control our carbs. And yeah, I mean, I don't like refined carbs, but nature provided a lot of great carbs for us. But let's not get rigid around that and forget that stress is the number one reason you're not getting that blood sugar to drop. I hope this was helpful. Women over 40, I've written a whole book about rushing woman syndrome, which is part of what's bringing up this the blood sugar levels. I wrote about it in the Menopause Reset. The rushing woman syndrome is a phrase that was originally coined by Dr. Libby Weaver. She has a whole book on it. But I want to make sure that we're very clear that the elephant in the metabolic room is stress. We're just not talking about it enough. So work on stress, move your body so that your body can feel safe and loved, and it'll bring that blood sugar down. Okay, if you loved this video, you're gonna wanna check out the next video of my food series. On this video, want to talk about the healthy foods that you might be eating that will stop you from a long and healthy life.